processes that you went through being on our show. And I'm grateful for everything that you've shared with the listening audience today. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to It Starts With Me. So glad to have you here. I can't wait for you to meet our guest today, Dupe. Her name actually means thank you, and you will be saying thank you for having her on the show today. I guarantee it. Dupe is absolutely amazing. But before I tell you more about her, let's go ahead and take care of some of the things for our house. But first off, every single Monday, Michael Seville has his show, What It Takes. So make sure you're there for that, 9 o'clock. On Wednesdays, 12:30, It Starts With Me. And then on every single Friday at 6:30, we have Community Beacon. All right, Dupe Witherick is with us today. She is the business owner of Thrive Alcohol Free. Her business title is Alcohol Free Wellbeing and Transformational Coach. Her message that she brings is so important. Dupe Witherick is an alcohol-free well-being transformational coach. She does one-to-one and group coaching programs, helps professionals and entrepreneurial women who are questioning their relationship with alcohol. Inside the program, she walks you through the Thrive AF method, so you can finally quit drinking and start to thrive alcohol-free in 30 days. Now, not only that, but the way that she does it is absolutely amazing. And the thought process, the mindset that she brings to the table is just earth-shattering. You are going to love her. At this time, we welcome Dupe to the show.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me onto your podcast. It's an honor.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I definitely appreciate you making the time to be here with us. And, for all the different things that you're doing, I think that that's amazing. You've had a great deal of a transformation, and you really took the time to make it happen yourself. So I applaud you for that.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
But where exactly are you located?
Oh, so I'm in England, in the UK, United Kingdom, in Oxfordshire. So near Oxford. That's my closest city. Yeah.
You like it there?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. I grew up in London. So we've moved a bit further out into the countryside, but still have a nice big city near us as well. So that's helpful.
Okay. What do you mean by like the countryside? What's the greatest attraction around you?
So we have something called the Chilterns, which are like hills. And so lots of people come over and do hiking and cycling. It's a very popular spot for cyclists. So yeah, we have trails and things like that.
That's interesting. The Chilterns.
Chilterns, yes.
Is that CHIL?
CHILTERNS.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I see them.
You see them? Have you Googled it?
Yes. Yeah. Of course.
So I'm near there. And it's interesting because I've been here for quite a number of years now, probably in this place, nearly 10 years in this specific area. And I hadn't really discovered the Chilterns until a few years ago when I started training to climb Mount Kilimanjaro behind me. So I climbed that in 2020, March 2020. So if you remember that well, I climbed a mountain, I came down and the world changed. That's what I like to say. Because obviously and it was the strangest thing. I mean, it was the most amazing experience, but it was just unbelievable because we were out of it for 10 days or something, like no communication, and people have been talking about this COVID thing coming, and got back and literally realized that was it. We were all locked down a week later. So
oh my gosh, how long were you up there?
Oh, not for so it took 6 days to go up and down, but we did it for a charity, and I got to go to one of the projects that this children's charity, Compassion, and so we went to visit one of the projects and meet some of the children, and then we went to one of their homes and sort of saw them before we actually climbed the mountain. So spent a few days beforehand and then climbed the mountain, and then had a day or so after before we came back to the UK. Yeah.
So you were gone for 6 days.
Yeah, 10 in total. Yeah.
10 days.
Yeah.
And when you went up, there was no COVID restrictions.
No.
And you came back down, and a week later, there was COVID restrictions.
Yes. Yeah.
What did y'all do in Mount Kilimanjaro?
What did I do? It was my fault. Yeah, I climbed the mountain, came down, the world changed. As I said, it's it was bizarre. And obviously when you do an experience like that, it completely changes you and your perspective. And I came down just thinking, oh my goodness, there's so much more that I'd like to do. And it's, the world's so big, and, I can do more, and you're just buzzing from it. And then I literally got back, hardly told anyone about I wasn't able to tell anybody because we were all in lockdown about a week later. So, yeah.
Everybody was like staring at their TVs, like, what are they going to do to us? What are they going to do with us? And you're just like climbing a mountain, and you're helping out children, and you're just like absorbing all of this energy, and you're just like, this is what have I been doing with my life?
Yeah.
I've done nothing in my life. Now I understand the whole world is before me. And when you come back, it's like, all right, lockdown.
Exactly. So I'd been every week with my friends because we did it together, and it was great because I had a buddy to do it with, and but we'd been training for about 6 months before, maybe 9 months before we went, and so every week we'd go to a different part of the Chilterns, and we would walk, and we would do our little it was our sort of getaway. Let's walk for anywhere from, it started off 2 hours or so, but got up to about 8-9 hours a day of just walking. So it was fun, but yes, it was an interesting period. So that was I summited it 3 years ago yesterday. So yes, so I was at the top.
3 years ago yesterday.
Yeah,
March the 5th.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. That is awesome. So I love this story. I love your story. I love your website.
Thank you.
Thrive, thrivealcoholfree.com.
Yes.
So I love that. I love that. You have a great story about yourself. Your about page was really interesting. Definitely. So I had to finish reading it. I wanted to gather all of that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I love how you started. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
I just love how you started off with Dupe, and then it was like DOPAY, Dupe. So it's like, all right, I know you guys aren't going to figure this one out. You're going to call me something different. So let's get this straight real quick.
Let's help everyone out. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's great, actually. In the past couple of years or so, I think it's been really good with, people putting their pronunciations as well as sort of their gender, what they want to be known as, and it just helps with inclusivity, doesn't it? And people not having to struggle with unusual names.
So is your name unusual in the UK? In
the UK, yeah.
Okay. Where is the UK your home of origin?
It is. I suppose I was born in Nigeria, but came to the UK when I was 1. So yes, many, many, many years ago. So yes, as far as I'm concerned, the UK is my home. Unfortunately, I haven't really been to Nigeria at all. I think I've been twice for about a week each time, and the last time was, 20 odd years ago. So yeah, no, it's not somewhere I know very well.
I understand. Okay. I have a friend from Nigeria. He's in Texas now.
Okay.
Yeah, his name is Casey Ojindu, or Ejindu. I think it's EJINDU. I think that's how it's spelled.
Right.
in Jindu.
Yeah.
And his first name, I never get it right. So he just says, just call me KC.
Yeah. No, I understand that.
So does your name, does it mean something specific? Was there a reason why mom said,
It means
hey,
thank you.
oh, that is so amazing.
Yeah, it means thank you. So it's a nice meaning. Yeah.
So in what is the language of Nigeria? What is that
So
called?
there are lots of languages, lots of dialects, but this is Yoruba.
Yoruba.
Yeah.
Okay. I've heard of that before, so I've
Mm.
definitely spoken about that before. Maybe KC told me about that.
Mm.
Yoruba. So in Yoruba, would you actually say Dupe? Would it come out
Yeah.
like that? I mean, I wouldn't even know how to frame that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It means, yeah, you would. But yeah, I don't know the language as well as I probably could. But no, that's what it means. So yes, you would say that.
So then if that's the case, if you were like sitting, if you were sitting down to eat and you know, mother or brother offered you something, would you just repeat your name?
It's a good point. Yes. Yeah, I suppose so.
That's interesting. That's
Yeah.
interesting. That's really cool. I wonder if a lot of people would be saying your name, you know, if you were still living in Nigeria, if you would
Yeah.
just hear your name all over the place.
Yeah. So it's a more common. It's a very common name in Nigeria. Yeah.
Is it a very common name
Quite
or
common. It's quite a common name in Nigeria. Yeah. Yeah.
wow. So there must be a history behind, you know, being thankful in
Yeah.
Nigeria.
Yeah. I suppose, as I said, I don't know fully, but I would suppose so. But I think for me, gratitude's really important, isn't it, for everybody, regardless of where you are in the country. And one of the things that I promote is writing gratitude lists every day and being thankful. So at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day, think of sort of 5 things that you're thankful for and write them down, because it makes you, one, appreciate like the norms of life, I suppose, and actually be able to go through your day without, you know, at the end of the day, regardless of how rubbish your day's been, there's always something that you can be thankful for. And if you dwell on that as opposed to dwelling on all the negativity, you tend to have more of a joyous life. So, yeah, that's my thing. I don't know if it's a Nigerian thing.
That was an awesome segue, though. I have to give it to you. You may not have meant it that way, but that was an awesome segue. So I love that. That was just beautiful. And then I love how you said rubbish. You know, it's that was like the exclamation point in the whole thing. It's like, you know, let me just tell you about my language right now. So that was good. Well spoken. Well spoken. So you are you are a specialist in dealing with, you know, women who have gone through alcohol concerns, you know, and you have a rich history of dealing with it from a different viewpoint, I feel, than simply just, you know, going out to get drunk. But there was more to it. And it just seems that, you know, you were bringing something different to the table when you finally did quit. But it seems like you were learning lessons about drinking while you were traveling through the drinking process. And that's part of what really interested me is how you wrote your about page and how you came upon the thought process of quitting drinking. It's very methodical. So I would love for you
Would you say it's
to tell
methodical?
me
That's
more.
interesting. Okay. 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 Well, should I let me sort of, yeah, let me tell you a bit about my story. So as far as the majority of the world are concerned, alcohol is a rite of passage when you sort of turn 18 or 19 or 21 in the US, I suppose, but 18 in the UK. And you go off to university, and the first week at university is all about, you know, getting to know people, but it tends to revolve around drinking. And, you know, as a sort of teenager, you see adults drinking all the time. Alcohol is ultimately the social glue that keeps us all together. So if you're happy, you have a drink. If you're celebrating, you have a drink. If it's a sunny day, you have a drink. If you're commiserating, if you're, you know, sad, there's always a reason to have something to drink. Anyway, at least in the UK, I don't know if it's the same in the US, but it's one of those, as I said, it's like the social glue that keeps everyone together. So as soon as you become an adult, you know, and I had an interesting conversation the other day with someone who's got a 2-year-old son, and he said to me, "Oh, I can't wait till he's 18 so I can take him out for his first pint." And I was just shocked at that, because I was thinking that's the mindset that once you hit 18, you need to drink. And parents encourage it. And as a mum as well, the whole mummy culture, mummy has to have wine. Mummy, you know, you've got if you think about birthday cards and Christmas cards, they've all got alcohol, wine, and various things on them. And especially if it's mums, or it's Mother's Day coming up in the next couple of weeks, and I'm already getting emails, which I shouldn't really as a mum, but I'm getting emails saying, "Celebrate Mother's Day, come and have a glass of Prosecco with us," you know, and that's what it's all about. And so I work with people who haven't hit rock bottom, and obviously aren't teetotal either, but they're in a spectrum, and it's called grey area drinkers. And I think it was coined by Jolene Park. And so grey area drinkers is basically anyone in between. And ultimately, you could be at number 2 or 3, you could be at number 5, you could be at number 7 of that spectrum. But if you think that you have, you know, it's not serving you, you're questioning whether or not life could be better without it, then you might want to consider going down a different route. But the challenge everyone has is, hold on a minute, everyone around me drinks. I don't know anyone who doesn't drink. And when you're drinking, you tend to think people that don't drink are boring. And so why would you want to be boring? And so then how do you actually break that pattern and try something new and different? And for me, it was taking a break. I said, and it was, again, after Kilimanjaro. And I was also, as I said, I was really thinking about, oh my goodness, I can do so much more. And what do I want to do? And how exciting. And it's not that, you know, I would say I've had a pretty interesting life up until now. I've worked all over the world, and I've traveled all over the place, and got a lovely husband and daughter and everything else. But it had just got to the point where I thought there was more. And so for me, I just thought, maybe if I had this nudge, this sort of niggle that kept sort of saying, maybe why don't you just stop drinking for a little bit? And I would describe myself as a normal drinker, like everybody else would say they're a normal drinker. As I said, I didn't hit a rock bottom. But what was really interesting is I said I'll stop for 21 days. And in those 21 days, I suddenly started discovering little things that made me think, hold on a minute, this might be something that I keep doing. And ultimately, I found a book called The Unexpected Joy of Being Sober. And that book has stayed with me, really, by Catherine Gray. And that was the book that really changed my mindset. And ultimately, we all have thoughts. We have thousands and thousands of thoughts every day that go around in our heads. And with those thoughts, the majority of them tend to either be the same thoughts, so repetitive, similar thinking, or negative thoughts. And so if you think about changing behavior and changing habits, if you're constantly thinking about the same thing, you're never going to change. And if you never question those negative thoughts and believe they're true, you're never going to change. And so I would say that our subconscious has basically, over the years, associated alcohol with various situations. And so it's the go-to. You don't think about it. It's just an automatic response. And so being able to take a step back and do something slightly differently, that's what, and then actually seeing the joy that comes out of it, that's what's amazing for me. So it's not the stopping drinking necessarily, it's all the things that happen afterwards, which is the best.
Very good. Very good. I'm glad that you mentioned all those things. I love that. You know, it's been, let's see, I guess I'm 43 now. And I think that my last drink was 19 or 20, whatever, like year 99, I think it was.
Wow.
1999, I think I had my last drink, except for this one occasion, which I'm about to put it out on this podcast, where I was in North Carolina. I don't have to. It's too late. I've already started. The fans want it. So there was one time when I was in North Carolina and Kabuchu? I think I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. Kabuchu. It's a fermented beverage that
Kombucha.
That's kombucha. Yeah. Kombucha. So, you know, well, you obviously you know what it is, but there's a little bit of alcohol that's inside of it, and I didn't realize it. And my silly self, I'm like, I'm going to get this. This is so healthy, and I'm on this health kick, and I've got my little healthy food. And we stopped at, you know, one of these healthy grocery stores, and my wife and I are sitting there, and she's like, "Don't try that. You're not going to like it." I'm like, "I'm going to like this. I know I will. Look at it. It's so healthy, you know." And I want to do this healthy thing. And so I drink one sip, like a capful, not even a capful, just, oh my gosh. And I look at her across the table. I'm like, "Kathy, I think I just drank alcohol. I can feel it in my blood." And I started just like kind of lose it for 30 seconds. I absolutely.
Did it have alcohol in it?
Yes, it did. It was like such a small percentage. I don't know. Yeah. Anybody who's listening to this is laughing right now. They're like, "I can't believe this guy." And I'm like, "Kathy, I think I'm drunk. I think I'm drunk."
Yeah, no, kombucha doesn't get you drunk.
I'm like, I got a buzz. I can't believe how they do something like this. I said, I haven't drank in like 10 years, and all of a sudden, and I tell people, if I ever drink again, I would be the guy who takes one sip and would fall out on the floor, and I'd be just drunk. And so, I don't know. It's been such a long time, but nonetheless, back to your story, and the thing that you were talking about is being in that gray area, a gray area drinker, and how you never had hit rock bottom, which is, I think this is a beautiful conversation, because I never hit rock bottom. You know, alcohol was never my go-to. And so I was able to quit just like you were. I mean, I just did it. But the thought process that you had and the way that you described it and how you just described it now, that's the part that is so intriguing. And to know that there are people that have not hit rock bottom, but they're, in American terms, they're like social drinkers. If they are true social drinkers, you know, looking at what they may be able to gain versus what they're losing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whole different. That's another mindset. Wow.
Yeah. And that's it. I never talk about giving up. You don't give up anything. You only gain. And I always talk about the fact that it's not about FOMO or FOMA, the fear of missing alcohol. It's about JOMO. It's the joy of missing out. And it's a real joy. And once you realize and you have that mindset shift. And for me, I think it's interesting because I used to sort of read articles that would say things like, "Oh, a glass of wine is good for you." So then you think, okay, well, I might as well have a glass of wine because it's good for me. And then you start learning all these things about alcohol, and you realize actually it's all just rubbish. Alcohol, it causes 200 different types of illnesses, including 7 types of cancer. It's not good for your heart. It's not good for your brain. It causes brain shrinkage. It isn't good for your gut. It really impacts your gut quite a lot. It's got a lot of sugar in it, so it impacts you from a sort of diabetes perspective. From a sleep perspective, we all think alcohol helps us sleep. Well, yes, you initially get knocked out, but you'll invariably wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning, and you won't have had the REM deep sleep that we all need in order to be creative and to dream. And so if you stop drinking, you actually dream again, literally. So, there's so many things that we sort of think alcohol does for us, and it's such a loss. Oh my goodness, if you don't drink, you must have had such a problem, or I feel so sorry for you because you're not drinking. Well, it's not the case. Not at all. And one of the things that really stuck with me, there were a couple. So there was one where I saw a lady drinking out of a petrol fuel tank, because
Right.
ultimately, exactly, because alcohol's ethanol, so it's what we put in our cars, it's what we put in our cleaning products. That's what we're drinking. And the other thing that sort of hit me, just seeing a lady like that drinking, and the other thing that hit me was alcohol in Arabic is alcool, which actually means body eating spirit, which again doesn't sound very good. So for me, learning all of these different things, as well as finding passions and discovering self-care and personal growth, and realizing actually it gives you such clarity and awareness and focus, and all of a sudden you have all this time on your hands. And so for me, it's a real superpower, and it helps you to basically go out and do anything you want to do in the world.
Wow. That was thank you very much. I mean, talk about education. I looked that up, alcohol, and then I recognized that it also ended up becoming like a folklore. The translation, the English translation, is ghoul.
Yeah,
it's ghoul. Yeah. And a ghoul is an evil demon believed to eat human bodies. And that was really interesting. I mean, so many things there. What was it that kicked your mind into gear to really search out all of the benefits of the possibility of no longer drinking? Grateful for everything that you share with the listening audience today.